Cynthia, what are we talking about today?
Well, we have one of our own here in Texas who we discovered through a variety of things, and I'm trying to look at that title, thank you so much, he's a professor at the University of North Texas Health Science Center at Fort Worth, and he said, urgent action needed on sale of hemp-derived cannabis products. Allegedly, he's a researcher. We're gonna talk about this.
Yeah, he doesn't like hemp.
So this guy, on his page, it says his research focuses on the marketing of substances frequently used by young people, including supersized Alco Pops. Never heard that before.
I want one now. I don't know what it is, but I want one.
Get to. Alco Pops, electronic cigarettes, and derived psychoactive cannabis products. His research has been cited in reports by the FDA, the World Health Organization, that's going great, as well as in city and county ordinances. His studies on supersized Alco Pops were cited by the Canadian government. I'm not gonna say anything about Canada, because I said I wouldn't. Blah, 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 blah.
So the article is his research, Intoxicating Cannabis Products in Vape Shops, United States, 2023. It was published this month. This is July. So it was published in July, the American Journal of Preventative Medicine. Quote, first studies to document that the U.S. is acting as a recreational cannabis country with intoxicating products being sold in stores across all 50 states. Look, there's, at this point, more than half the states have medicinal or recreational marijuana. The other half of the states arguably have hemp, and there's some overlap on the hemp side between states that have marijuana and states that don't. So I mean, cannabis has been, people are acting like cannabis hasn't been in this country for fucking 100 years.
Well, this guy who seems relatively young, I don't know.
Longer than 100 years. Like,
yes.
Cannabis has been a part of U.S. culture. I mean, think about the 70s. Is there anything you think about at the 70s that doesn't have weed involved?
Listen, I agree with you. And go back to the reefer madness of the 1930s. So even before the 1970s, right? So this guy my point is that people decide what their perspective is, right? You decide whether you're a libertarian, you decide whether you're a free market person, you decide whether you're a prohibitionist. And then if you decide that you're a prohibitionist, everything is bad. That can be your only point of view.
I thought we were going to make the country better, but it almost seems like it's worse. Drinking in some areas is up, as are arrests for public intoxication, drunk driving, and incidents of liver cirrhosis. The general chaos has turned America into a nation of criminals with no respect for the law, and all these attempts at enforcement are just costing the economy valuable money and eating up judicial time and resources. Release the lines.
Well, let's take this a step further, right? So this guy, in the last video, we were talking about CADCA. There's all these different groups and there's different people that for their own variety of reasons hate cannabis, right? Want it to go away, whether marijuana or hemp. You know, at this point, it's whack-a-mole. They're going after all of it. They don't like it. They're prohibitionists. So the question is okay, let's say we outlaw hemp, right? What's the alternative? So the alternative in Texas would be we go back to buying cartel weed that's smuggled in from Mexico, supporting criminal organizations, lose about 50,000 jobs of Texans that work in this industry within Texas, the hundreds of millions of dollars of tax dollars that goes to the government for this, right, to the state. So, like, what is the alternative? What are they proposing? They're proposing to get rid of all these products and make them illegal and start putting people in jail again for cannabis products. And yet nobody is even remotely talking about how far we have come from buying untested, unregulated, garbage products off of street drug dealers that have been smuggled in from other countries and supporting criminal organizations to a structured industry that tests its products, that's heavily regulated, that is state and federally legal. I don't even understand where somebody like this even begins to start down that process of arguing that we should take away these products. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. These products existed prior to hemp. People were buying weed on the fucking street from drug dealers.
Well, it gets better. This guy also has a degree in economics, I think. I'm almost positive that he has a degree in economics as well. the economics, you would think that somebody like this looked at the economics of the industry and the jobs that are created, the jobs that are supported, because there's direct revenue and there's indirect revenue. So all the packaging people, all the delivery people, the insurance. So there's this massive industry that somebody with a background in economics would theoretically look into. But instead, he chooses to focus on hemp products being available in vape shops.
Well, a lot of the vape products were made illegal. Those stores had to figure out what to do. And hemp came around right at the time when the FDA was shutting down all the e-cig stuff.
When you're a prohibitionist, you don't care if business comes up with a way to stay alive and keep their employees employed and keep paying the rent and all that stuff. You want prohibition and you want people in prison.
And also with the vape industry, they took an American industry that was thriving, and now 99% of everything is made in China and is sold illegally with air quotes.
Correct.
Exactly. So according to this, Rossheim study shows that in states with limited or no, and he says Delta 8 regulation, but earlier in this article, he's got a problem with all of it, right? This says specifically Delta 8. 92% of vape shops and other stores sold intoxicating cannabis, I hate that word, intoxicating, cannabis products. So you're saying that in states with limited or no regulation, stores chose to sell a product that is allowed to be sold.
Legal.
Right. So not illegal, right? And they choose to sell it. And he writes about it like it's a bad thing that people make a business decision to sell a product. There are objectionable products out there. I mean, I think you can walk into a store and buy fake pee, right?
Yeah. I've got a good friend that sells probably close to $100,000 a month of fake pee.
Wow. I didn't know there was such a demand for fake pee. Oh my gosh. But there are objectionable products out there that are allowed to be sold. So again, you have to come at this from a prohibitionist point of view. Retailers are selling these products as if they were hemp-produced t-shirts or shoes. Says who? How should you sell them? Should you not pay tax on them? Should you not put them in a package? Like, how should you sell them then? In all of this, all you get from this is judgment and a moralistic point of view. This guy wants to impose his views on everybody else.
Well, this is it right here. Quote, "This underscores the urgent need for comprehensive bans prohibiting any detectable levels of derived intoxicating cannabinoids that are well enforced with product testing and large fines for noncompliance." So he is arguing to outlaw hemp, make it illegal, and we go back to shipping in marijuana from Mexico through the cartels, street drug dealers,
Dr. Rossheim
crime,
is a supporter of the
violence, all of it. And you're essentially saying that the 50,000 Texans that are involved in this industry now, the billions of dollars of revenue, the hundreds of millions of dollars for the state, like this is failed. This is what a failed industry looks like.
Dr. Rossheim wants to see the cartel and illicit markets in the United States.
That's the only conclusion you can make from this.
And so he also says, so you need comprehensive bans prohibiting any detectable levels that are well enforced with product testing. Why do you need to product test if you're talking about a comprehensive ban? I mean, it's like he doesn't know anything about economics. You're going to waste money on testing something that's illegal? You can just skip that part and send people right to prison the way you want, Dr. Rossheim.
So this conflicts with the CADCA data that said essentially bans don't do anything. If I remember correctly in the CADCA video, they argued that the bans didn't do a whole lot.
Correct.
The bans didn't work, and he's saying we should do a ban.
Yes.
So we're going to start putting people back in jail for cannabis. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Vape shops and stores in states without bans had approximately 16 times the odds of selling intoxicating cannabis
because it's legal products
compared to those in states with bans. You're allowed to sell it. What is so surprising about the fact that vape stores, who used to be able to sell vape products and then they got screwed over by the FDA, so then they found an alternative product that they can sell? Why is this surprising? And why is it a public health emergency?
Right. It would be like saying in states where they don't allow alcohol or liquor sales on Sundays, we see a decline in liquor sales on Sundays.
Shocking.
On states where you do see liquor sales on Sundays, you see liquor sales on Sundays.
So here's an interesting quote. Prior to 2020, he explained most cannabis products on the market contain the naturally abundant Delta-9 THC intoxicant. Quote, since then, companies have created synthetic intoxicants sprayed on hemp leaves, infused in candies, and added other foods and beverages. This is more dangerous than marijuana use. Look.
Get him. Do it.
This hurts my brain. So, hemp and marijuana are the same. It's the same plant. Same plant. It's the same plant. They all have the same chemicals. It's just in different variances. The only difference between hemp and marijuana is the government's distinction of Delta-9 THC on a dry weight basis. That is it. So he's saying naturally abundant Delta-9 THC. By the way, most hemp products on the market right now are predominantly Delta-9 based.
Yes,
predominantly.
I know.
The Delta-8 sales in the hemp market makes up a very small amount. Now, the industry started with Delta-8, but since then, Delta-9 has been by far the predominant cannabinoid that is used in the hemp psychoactive products. So I love that all of these people are human centipeding the Delta-8 and just going after Delta-8 when the vast majority of what's being sold in hemp is actually Delta-9.
So here's another example of an academic who doesn't feel like they need to do any research whatsoever. So he says here, some of them have been found to contain pesticides, heavy metals, and even chemical solvents. Has he been paying attention to the marijuana crisis in California?
Well, this is why I keep saying the word human centipede, right? Because that's what this is. These are whether they're anti-cannabis groups, anti-hemp groups, whatever they are, whatever their position is, they're regurgitating the shit that the other group spits out, and then they're creating their own shit, and another group takes that and then feeds that back to them. It's literally a human centipede.
All their shit and share it with other people who could do the same with all their shit.
And God forbid any of them should do any actual research or talk to anybody actually in the industry. Please don't put a picture of the human centipede in the video.
Do it, Louis.
Oh, I will.
Do it. Do it.
I believe in you.
Okay, so here's the thing. When you're an academic, you have a platform, right? And it sounds like I'm picking on this guy, but this guy has decided to pick on us, so it's all fair game.
He stepped into the fight, so it's fair game.
But the point is that he's an academic, and the problem with academics is that they can say whatever they want. And because they have a bunch of initials behind their name, you're supposed to take them seriously and believe everything that they say. This guy's done no research. He has a philosophical bent, an ideological bent, and that's it. So he says here, 1 in 9 high schoolers, in 2023, 1 in 9 high schoolers used Delta-8 THC. It was 12th graders. How many of them were 18? There's no age limit, by the way, in Texas, despite the fact that we tried to get an age limit.
We've tried to get an age
Correct. So why wouldn't this guy give you more context about how there is no age limit in Texas, despite industry trying to get an age limit?
It says right here, Rossheim and his research team. This guy has a research team of people, and yet all they've done is read other human centipede garbage from other groups.
How is it possible that all these videos we do that are our subjects, none of them are familiar with Google? None of them have met the internet. How is this possible?
Here, a call for urgency.
Urgency.
Quote, time is of the essence, unquote. This study demonstrates that urgent action is needed to address.
You can write an article, you're an academic, you can write an article, you can raise an alarm, and suddenly you're important. Suddenly you're somebody because you're alerting people to the dangers, the urgent, whether there are any or not. Now you've committed a public service, right? And you're the guy. How is this helpful? When you're a prohibitionist, you don't know that prohibition doesn't work. It's a failed concept. So you keep coming at things like you're actually doing something helpful. You're not helping. You're advocating the destruction of an entire industry. You're pushing for people to go to prison, and you don't care about the world at large. Period. You live in your own little, what do you call that? You have tunnel vision. Yeah. You live in your own little bubble, and the reality outside doesn't matter. You just can pat yourself on the back because you wrote an article.
Right. You can problematize anything.
Anything.
By the way, I love that he calls them ICPs, intoxicating cannabis products. So, yeah, just
I'm not using that either.
The ICP reference is hysterical to me. Lewis will pop something up. All my juggalos will know what's up. So what's interesting, I'm in his study right now. I'm pulling it up. So his study references 520 U.S. vape shops. He's saying 10 in District of Columbia, 10 in Puerto Rico, and then 10 per state. So I'm curious how they surveyed them.
Phone.
They just called them up?
Yeah, you had it and then you moved it. Here.
There we go.
From November to December, a month, they conducted telephone surveys. Licensed cannabis dispensaries. Now he's talking about marijuana.
He's talking about the regulated cannabis market.
Yes. They were excluded because the focus was on retail environments where hemp-derived products were more likely.
I feel like that's a huge flaw.
A huge flaw. Also, wait, go back. They tend to carry a wider variety of products. That's their job. So let me go to the beauty store that only carries one brand and one lipstick in the entire store.
Walmart must be the devil to him.
Options and choice. How can you? So 30 days. Here's the other thing. It's not a knock on anybody, but anybody who's ever been to any kind of retail store, good luck on what kind of clerk you get. Who answers the phone? Who's answering these questions? Were these people vetted? Were they the owner? The whole thing is just lame. And also, by the way, you couldn't get off your ass and walk to a store? You had to call him on the phone? Okay. So he has an issue with the fact that alcohol, and we don't sell alcohol, but liquor companies have come up with a different delivery format for their alcohol, which is already age restricted. So you flipped through that just now. Does he offer up any solutions?
To the Alco Pops?
Yeah.
Ban.
Oh, just ban Alco Pops?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he just wanted to
Can't ban alcohol. But
no, not going to ban alcohol, but you're going to ban the Alco Pops. What determines an Alco Pop? That it's in a can?
That it's got alcohol that you can drink and it's fizzy?
Well, that's beer. We're gonna ban beer? I'm not saying ban beer. I'm saying, what is the logical conclusion to banning Alco Pops?
This makes me so mad.
It should.
Yeah.
It should.
Yeah. Anytime anybody does anything fun, it's dangerous.
Listen, underage drinking is already illegal. So why don't you focus on that instead of defaulting to let's ban? It's so easy to say let's ban. This guy's an academic. He's going to be employed by this university until he dies, unless he decides to move somewhere else and goes. But point being that academics, your paycheck is pretty secure. Fuck people who are in an industry selling stuff that they're legally allowed to sell.
And the people that enjoy it.
And the people that, definitely screw them.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
Here's little Timmy. Uh-oh. Looks like Timmy's gonna have his first drink. He's taking a small sip of whiskey, and Timmy has spontaneously combusted. The end.
Anyway, the point is that any industry you can make up, you can have, you have people that don't like the way it's tested. And I understand animal testing or ingredients that are used or. You can make a one sheet for any industry you want full of scary things. It is far more valuable to society and far more impressive for you to actually make a one sheet of what good solutions look like to what you believe the perceived problem is.
As opposed to just banning.
As opposed to just banning is lazy. Banning is let's just do this. But the implications of it and the ramifications of it don't matter. It's just it's such a lazy form of thinking. It's not even thinking. Yes, sir.
Just on a whim, Googled cinnamon FDA safety. Immediately comes up with...
What's wrong with cinnamon?
Apparently it's hurting people.
Cinnamon?
Yeah. I mean, literally, I just did it as an example. You can Google anything, and there's people that have been hurt by it.
I bet you is there a one-pager? Oh, sure enough. A one-pager about the evils of cinnamon.
Is it talking about banning cinnamon?
No.
Oh.
No.
It's talking about how it's being sold in vape shops.
Vape shops are
and
selling
it's evil.
cinnamon.
Evil. Pure evil.
Yeah. Listen, the plus side is if these people actually ever got a clue and did some research, they might actually do some damage.
Ooh, that child-looking packaging on that cinnamon.
Cinnamon's delicious.
69 reports of adverse effects linked to contaminated cinnamon pouches.
What's a cinnamon pouch?
Lead and chromium poisoning outbreak linked to cinnamon. Public health alert. Cinnamon.
Dr. Rossheim, you better get on the cinnamon.
FDA alert. Cinnamon.
It is an urgent situation.
FDA adds more ground cinnamon products tainted with something or other. I mean, it's ongoing. Like literally anything you want to Google that has adverse health effects. I mean, water.
Correct.
Do we want to look up water?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's hundreds of people a year that die from literally water.
So you feel good because you're like, yeah, let's ban it, but you're not helping anything, right? So what good are you?
Right.
On that note, I think we're done talking about human centipede stuff, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us as always, and happy hunting.
These people are gonna hate us.
They all hate us already.
Wait.